Hello aspirants, welcome to Inkar IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about the 23rd 4th current affairs, the topic taken from the Delhi editorial. The topic comes under GS2 issues relating to development and management of the social security services relating to health. In this topic, we are going to discuss about what is the protection of the healthcare workers, what are the pathogen access and benefit sharing system, and what are the equitable distribution commitments of by pharma companies, what are the technological transfer under the mutually agreed terms, and what are the promotion of the local manufacturing capacity, and what are the key issues between the developed and developing countries with examples, the concerns over the access versus the control over resources, technology transfers, and also historical inequities and trust deficit. And also there is a guaranteed what are the benefit sharing systems and what are the commitment have pharma companies made on the vaccine sharing. So these are the topics we are going to discuss under this topic. First of all, there is a many important issues comes under this landmark agreement. So we need to come across that is after over the 3 years and 13 rounds of meeting, that countries that are part of the World Health Organization have agreed the steps to help to stop and ready for deal with the future pandemics. So first of all, there is a pandemic issue. Who are the key provisions? Some key provision which is provided by the WHO pandemic agreement that will be prevent the future pandemics, that is a protection and healthcare workers, that countries have committed to better protection and support for the healthcare workers during the pandemics, ensuring the adequate PPE, the mental health supports, and also the fair compensation. That is the main important for the protection of the healthcare workers. And also there is a pathogen access and benefit sharing system, the system which is established to ensure the countries that is a sharing of pathogen samples or genome, the sequence of guaranteed access of the diagnostic treatment and vaccine which is developed from the all the countries. And also if an African country that shares a new virus strain, it will receive the vaccine developed using that strain. And also there is a equitable distribution and also the commitment by pharma companies, that is a pharmaceutical companies have agreed to donate 10% of the pandemic related products to WHO and provide the 10% at affordable prices. This is the main news today. First of all, during a future pandemics, WHO can allocate the donated vaccine close to, that is doses to low income countries. And also there is a technology transfer under mutually agreed terms. The countries must promote all the facilitate vaccine technology and also know how to transfer under fair condition, not just a voluntary. It is a mRNA vaccine technology that being transferred, that is to a developing country to scale up the local production. And also there is a promotion of local manufacturing capacity. The first of all, the treaty which is encourage the country to build the domestic capabilities to manufacture diagnostic vaccines and treatment, that is a WHO support to set up the vaccine production hubs in the South America and also the Africa. But there is a different priorities during the negotiation. First of all, there is a many key issues: access versus control over resources. The developing country that sought equitable access to the vaccine, diagnostics, and also the treatment, but the developed from shared the pathogen data. So first of all, there is a developed countries perspective that is a focused on retaining the control over the innovation and resources. For example, that India is required the vaccine access in return for sharing the virus data to the EU. EU hesitated on binding these terms. And also there is a technology transfer versus IP right that demanded the mandatory technological transfer to build up the local manufacturing, that is increasing the capacity of the local products. And also need to developed countries said that is a preferred voluntary sharing. There is no fear for the loss of profit. And also the IPR, that is the intellectual property right. By example, that the African nation pushed from mRNA technology, that is a form of films resisted to protect the patent rights. So that is a very good example. And also there is a historical inequities and also the trust deficit. The skeptical due to the past incident like vaccine hoardings, demanded enforceable commitments. So there are many historical inequalities, but developed countries perspective, they said that it is agreed to binding the mechanism and also fearing for the risk of supply chain. So that is an example in the US and EU. That is in the COVID pandemic, they can pre-booked and delaying the access of the African countries. It will not happen again. So there is a trust deficit is required. So we need to make the trust between the developed and developing countries. So these are the main key issues which is discussed in the 13 rounds of WHO, that how does the pathogen access and benefit sharing system will work. First of all, there is a guaranteed access to the medical count and measure. We can provide the guarantee for the measures. That countries that share pathogen samples and the genome data, that is a guaranteed access of the diagnostics, vaccines or treatment development from them. And so if Nigeria shared a Ebola virus sample, it will receive the vaccines or treatment developed from those samples. So, and also there is a donation and affordable pricing commitments. There is a companies have agreed to donate 10% of the production of the WHO. So they can give the low and middle income countries like during a pandemic, India or Kenya, they would receive a share of the vaccine even if they can't pay market rates. And there is a legally binding mechanism for the fair distribution. There is a preventive vaccine hoardings. Unlike COVID-19, there is Africa was left behind. The new system mandates yearly and fair distribution. These are the main pathogen access and benefit sharing system. And there is a protection based donation is required for the commitments. Mainly the pharmaceutical companies provide the protection based donation quota, that is 10% of the total vaccine production to WHO for the low income countries. And also it provides the affordable pricing for the developing countries, and also it prevents the hoardings. So WHO facilitate all the countries under WHO frameworks, and also it promoting the collaboration and capacity building, and also it facilitate the mutually agreed terms. So that is mainly important for the pandemic situation. A form of like Moderna, that is in will negotiate terms with countries like Indonesia to share the mRNA vaccine technology under the WHO oversight. So these are the main facilitate, and technology transfer will be provided by the WHO. And also we need to way forward that strengthen the global compliance, that monitoring the establishment, and also we can interdependent, that is every country will be interdependent. So there is a WHO led mechanism to ensure the countries and pharma companies added to commitment on access and donation of the technology transfer, and also invest in regional manufacturing hubs to support the creation of regional facility for vaccine diagnostic production, and developing countries to reduce the dependency and also enhance the preparedness. These are the main concern of the WHO agreements. Thank you so much.